nobody I knew in person from Latvia ever done this. They're all Soviet people. We were brought up in a country where there's no business. There was just bribes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know. And as a kid, I'm not exactly an expert on that. But what if I got laid off? They give you a nice chunk of money to go with it, to cushion the blow. And you go home and you have all this time in the world. You have that money to last you a few months and you can really give it a try. And when it happened, I swear I wanted to kiss and hug all these people who were firing me with these faces, their gray faces. They're stressed. They hate doing that. Right? So they're sitting there and I'm jumpy. I want to go. I want to hug everybody, tell everybody goodbye, and go home and start working on my business. It was one of the most exciting days in my life. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
Literally.
Wait, so I have to
zero
backtrack.
Education and zero education of photography. Go ahead.
Oh, so I have to backtrack 1 second because I'm going to forget if not. So you made an offhanded comment that during the financial collapse you worked for the investment firm. So were you working for Bear Stearns at the time?
No, but they were across the street. They were gone first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were right.
I got laid a few weeks later.
You were right after Bear Stearns?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll go on from there then. Okay. So they give you a severance package. You went home, and then so the photography business itself. Did you just jump into it and start taking photographs of like larger companies? Did you already have a portfolio of clients built up? Were you reading books to get this going, or how was that? What was that process like to officially get this off the ground?
There was no clients. There was nothing in store for me at all. Looking back, I have no idea. I think it was a midlife crisis, if I ever experienced that. I don't remember. I'm usually a pretty happy person. So it's really weird that I did that. It's completely illogical, but it happened. I think I started reading books on running a photography business after I got laid off. Because before I would just shoot and spend my nights post-processing the photos, learning the Photoshop. By then, I took some courses from people. There was this fashion photographer from United Kingdom. He mentored me a little bit on how to work with models. And I tried shooting regular people. I saw how big the difference is and how it's impossible to direct regular people. Sometimes, models kind of know what they do and they know they look good. So they just kind of wiggle around in front of the camera and it's worked. But regular people show up and they're frustrated and they're scared. And I'm uncomfortable too. And I'm an introvert. So that was, I never thought I would shoot people. Ever. It's kind of weird, the whole thing. How it came together.
Okay, so you were reading a book after this and started. So how did your business evolve then from the early days to what you're doing now, more on visual branding? Like, how did you decide that was your niche?
Okay, that's a very simple answer. So how I started, the first question is, I started networking like a crazy person. I went on meetup.com and I found all and any groups that were coming together to network as businesses, and I just went up there and I met people. And I was not charging enough, and I wasn't good enough either, so that's okay. But I got enough business to support myself during that transition, and I also rented a studio space in a hip town of Hoboken, which was cool, and it definitely pleased my ego. For 2.5 or 3 years, I had an actual studio where my clients would show up. Some of them did not like the building. Some of them loved the building because it's so artsy and hip and weird. That's how I started. Networking was big for me.
Okay.
And how I transitioned into the branding photography, that was very simple. So eventually I understood that networking is best in the communities and masterminds. So whenever I would take an online course, I would make sure that that course has a Facebook group attached to it where I can meet people. I would not take a training online that doesn't have a Facebook group or any kind of live support and somebody cheering on behind the scenes so that people actually are encouraged to connect with one another.
Okay.
That was a very, very important decision that I did, and I think this is one of the advices I would give to anybody. Just make sure when you're getting educated, make sure there are people you can learn with and connect and, commiserate.
Mm-hmm. Why?
And,
Why?
Because this was my transition from networking in person with a whole room of people who are very unlikely to hire me, maybe 2%, mm-hmm. to transitioning. I don't remember how I started the sentence, but basically, right now all my networking is online. Mm-hmm. I am constantly taking courses to learn something, and I am a part of these communities where I participate. As a person, we connect on a human level, and these are all entrepreneurs. These are people like me. They're business owners. They're trying to achieve something, achieve some goals, and they are my target market now. Mm-hmm. And this was the way they became the target market, because I realized that these are my folks. These are the people who I'm connecting the most with. These are the people who I can help the most with. Forget about photography. Mm-hmm. I can help them a lot. I know so much by now, and I can encourage them, and I believe in them because I've done it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like easy. One day I basically woke up and realized I'm not shooting anything else anymore. That's all I want to do. I just want to do power portraits. Oh, and then a friend of mine and a colleague and a client, I don't remember which was first, she helped me come up with the power portraits. Mm-hmm. A little bit of brainstorming there.
Yeah. Okay, so power portraits, what's that, and what's that about?
Power portraits are powerful photos of entrepreneurs, basically anything that propels your business forward, that creates the connection, empowers your connection with your audience. When they look at the photo and they see enough information that lets them subconsciously like you more, connect to you more, relate to you more, because photography has this power, untapped in power. Again, stop me when I'm 2 hours into this lecture, but photography has this amazing power to connect people. Mm-hmm. And most of us, you guys, them, don't know how to harness that power. Mm-hmm. Power portraits are created with that in mind. So basically, when somebody's hiring me, I make sure I know everything about them and their business that they're willing to share, and everything that I can possibly collect on their audience, their market, and then we create these connections. Basically, we're evaluating everything from what they like, from their age groups to where they hang out and what their values are. Mm-hmm. And then we create these pictures, portraits, power portraits. Boom. I love it. I still get goosebumps.
So when you say power portraits, I automatically assume that means that you're taking a portrait of the entrepreneur in various settings, but it sounds like you're doing more than that. Like it's more than that, but basically, yes, they're portraits. I also throw in things like we shoot some props for their social media. They're good images to use, and they're very easy to create for me, as long as they have props available. It's kind of just one of the benefits, but we focus on photographing the entrepreneurs. That's why I'm focusing on personal brands. These are brands. These are the people whose face is representing the brand, whose personality, who is a spokesperson of a method, whether they're a coach or even photographers. Photographers are personal brands. Mm-hmm. We got to put ourselves out more. If you go to a photographer's Instagram, it's going to be beautiful, great photos and stuff like that, but there's so little about them. Mm-hmm. Who is this person? Everybody wants to know. Now everything is about connecting to the person behind the brand. Nobody wants to know about the business until they find out who is running the business. Interesting. So with these then portraits, so is this a ongoing process that these are taken once a month or once a quarter or once a year, or is it you just do one series and then they go from there?
I usually try to capture And some of these sessions last half a day, sometimes longer, depends on what they want to do. But usually I try to capture enough images to last them a good several months. It depends on how active they are on social media. For example, if they post twice a day on Instagram every day of the week, well, they need a lot more material. And also, they combine it with a lot of other stuff. It's not just their photos. Mm-hmm. It's inspirational quotes. It's graphics. It's whatever comes, whatever the strategy is. But typically we cover pretty well. But I do have a few clients who are repeat clients and they come back every quarter. Mm-hmm. Those are very active on social media and they constantly have new ideas on how to promote, how to present themselves, and it's an ongoing process with them. I actually created a separate product for those people. It's in our inner circle. Mm-hmm. They basically pay membership fee once a month, and once a quarter we have a photo shoot. And by then, I know them already. That's the thing. It's only for the current clients who have already done a power portrait session with me. Okay. I've photographed them. It's easy for us to put something together. I know what they're like and their personality and their brand. So, yeah, we just come up with ideas on an ongoing basis and shoot them.
Yeah.
It's cheaper for them and it's good for me, too.
Yeah, definitely. So as somebody who focuses on branding and visual branding, what are some mistakes that drive you nuts that you see people doing on social media or Instagram or any of those sites that could be easily fixed?
They don't really drive me nuts. I've been there too, so I just feel like we all where we should be, and they're all growing. And a year later, they're going to look at their mistakes and see what's going on. I'm mostly on Instagram, on social media, and okay. I see people taking, horrible selfies is one thing. Mm-hmm. These live Insta stories or live Facebook videos where a person is taking a shot from like a bottom of their face, mm-hmm. where you can see up their nose and see all their chins and everything. It's just, it's so bad. Like, why would you, people don't like seeing that on their screens, and that's why they're not watching your Facebook Live. Mm-hmm. So learn to take great selfies and use the same technique with your presentations, with any of your live presentations, whether you're doing a webinar or coming online on social media. That's one thing that is so easy to improve. Selfies. We can start with that.
Okay, so let's start with selfies then. So how do you take a good selfie? Like what do you do to ensure that you take a good selfie?
It's funny that you ask. I actually have a training on this. Basically, you start with the light.
Okay.
First things first. Figure out the lighting. Don't make yourself look like you're a ghost. Some people put a lot of light on their face and use a dark background behind them. The camera doesn't see so much range and contrast, right? So we need to make sure that our face and the background are kind of in the same, not color range, but lighting wise. And that will make all these washed out faces disappear, all these ghosts disappear. But it needs to be well lit, ideally in front of the window. Okay. Ideally, or just get a couple of soft boxes with some cheap lights. They're not that expensive nowadays because every single brand out there who's in photography is producing lights nowadays, and there's a lot of really nice Chinese companies. They're making lights for big brands like Manfrotto, and at the same time they're making their own lights. They look a little bit different, but they're the same brand that makes Manfrotto stuff. It's like insane.
Yeah.
Very cheap, very affordable. Put it in front of your desk wherever you're doing those lives and fix the lighting situation. Mm-hmm. That is the number one thing. And then, of course, there's a composition. How far are you from the camera? A lot of people are just so close. It's like, it's my screen is 27 inches. It's too big. Mm-hmm. Right. So the angle is important, obviously. If you're shooting from the laptop, you need to prop that laptop up. It's just not going to work when it's low.
Mm-hmm.